gonna be just like senior year, except for funner.
Hey listeners, we have something a little different for you this week. We had the chance to chat with the one and only Jodie Sweetin, aka Stephanie Tanner, and the convo was so good we thought we'd drop it to you as this week's episode. Enjoy!
Hey everyone, I'm Kendra.
And I'm Mercedes, and we're so excited to be chatting with Jodie Sweetin today.
Yes, everything about her work as an actress to her work as a full-time activist, podcaster, and so much more. And of course, we have to grill her a little bit about Full House.
Welcome, Jodie, to the pod.
Hi. Hey, you guys. How are you?
Wonderful. How are
So
you
good.
doing?
Oh, I am doing fantastic today. I was just doing a little wedding planning here this
Oh my
morning.
God.
Oh, no way.
I know. Yeah, I was doing some of that. Like, we're getting married this summer, so it's going to be very small and nothing too crazy, but having fun picking out some a few things here and there.
Oh,
That's
congrats.
so fun. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Jodie, I feel like we have so many questions to ask you about love, like in the love space. So we're gonna have to get some lessons on you on how to get to the altar.
Well, here, let me tell you, I've done the journey a couple times, and it doesn't, it takes a little bit to figure things out, but that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Everything in
Yeah.
timing. We'd love to just start about, hearing about your experience growing up in front of the camera. We know, obviously, you get a lot of questions about Full House, and we just feel like we have to do our due diligence to ask you.
Mhm.
course.
But I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about what your favorite moment on set was from Full House that you still think of today.
Oh man, I don't know, and I always say this because people were like, "What was the best moment?" And I'm like, I don't know if there was like a moment in particular. I wish I always had like some perfect story. But I would say, like, growing up on the show, the thing that I always really enjoyed was like we were a really close-knit group, not just the cast, but our crew as well. Like the whole vibe on our stage was very familial.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we would be together for birthdays and around holidays, and we'd have, holiday parties, and we'd have, all this kind of stuff. And I guess it just, for me, like, it just always feels so much like home. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the moments that like I think about are, sitting backstage and like gossiping with Candace and Andrea about, some boy that I thought was cute on this show that I watched. Or, like getting my first bike at like 5 years old around for Christmas time from the producers. I got my first bike from them. Like, little things like that that those are the things that I think of that aren't necessarily things that happen in front of the camera, but it was like it was just my childhood, like all those hallmarks of things that happened, with them.
Yes,
That
of
is so sweet.
course. I've been a Full House fan since I can remember. I mean, especially Stephanie Tanner had such an impact on me to the point where there is an episode where Stephanie starts dancing and I had to start dancing. So I was like, she's wearing an amazing hat. I need this hat. I need to start dancing.
Yes, the sparkly hat. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
hat is
It
cute.
had
Yeah.
such an impact. So I just wanted to know, like, what's it like knowing that you played one of the most like iconic TV comedy characters in history?
I mean, I'd say I probably don't really grasp it. It hits me sometimes where I'll think about it. I'll be like, dude, you went to Japan and like people were waiting at the airport for you, and like you were in a cab and your show was on dubbed in another language in another country. That's weird. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think sometimes it doesn't hit me until I really like think about it. Like that is not an experience that, many people have. And so
Mhm.
wow, that's pretty, I mean, it's pretty amazing. And like knowing what an impact that Full House and Stephanie in particular has had on, young women my age and people growing up who are my age. I mean, I just turned 40, but not only that, but then like younger generations who grew up watching reruns of Full House
Yeah.
and then started watching Fuller House. And then, it's really cool to think that that show has had such an impact.
Yeah, and thinking about impact and just how long you spent on the show as well, I'm curious how your view of acting has changed since your days on Full House, because obviously you were younger, it was something fresh and new and exciting. But now that you're a bit more seasoned, how has acting changed for you?
Well, I think, as a kid, when you're doing a sitcom, like it's, you're not thinking about character and you're not giving it a backstory or you know what I mean? You're having fun. And I still love having fun on set, but now, even for Steph, like coming back and playing Stephanie as an adult, I I got to fill in some of Steph's backstory about like, well, what happened in between, you know? And I think also for Steph, you know, they gave her a great backstory with her journey with infertility. And so like, I filled in a lot of that stuff in between. And I think as you get older in this business, you go like, oh, it's, you know, and you take classes and you really get into what the craft and what the work is, you know, you get to sink your teeth in a little bit more and have more fun and, you know, doing romantic comedies and Hallmark movies and all of that kind of stuff too. You know, it's like figuring out where can I, as an actor, do something different or make an interesting choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So, as an actor, do you have a method for choosing these new projects that you've been doing? How do you choose what to take on?
Well, I definitely like to read the script first, you know,
Yeah.
and I like to work with production companies that I've worked with before. So sometimes if it's like a, you know, group of people that I just really like working with, but you know, at the end of the day, like for the romantic comedies and stuff that I do, I'm like, I just want it to be sweet. I want it to be, you know, much like Full and Fuller House. I want there to be a nice little ending. Everyone's happy, you know, everything makes sense. But I also, you know, I try to bring my female characters a little bit of, you know, a little bit of something strong and fierce
Yeah.
in their own right. And so I love reading scripts where, you know, it's a female small business owner or whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, all that kind of stuff, sort of the romantic comedy, you know, staples at this point.
Totally.
But yeah, I like to read a script that is sweet and that has a happy ending, that is interesting, that the characters are interesting, and you know, that it's got a little bit of something that, you know, unexpected in it.
I want to know too from you, what exactly quantifies a positive experience while making a movie or TV show, right? Because we think about, okay, obviously it's how the director treats us, how we get along with our co-stars, but
Right.
what are some examples that you feel like people don't really think of that really create a positive experience?
I mean, you know, having a hair and makeup team that you really love, and it sounds
Mm.
silly and sort of, you know, superficial, but when your job is your head on camera and very close-up shots of it, you definitely want to work with people that you trust, and you're like, okay, I feel confident, you know, because
Mhm.
sometimes you'll start a movie and you're like, hi, I've never met you before, but you're going to attempt to do my hair and my makeup as though I've
Mhm.
been doing it myself, you know, for years, and I'm going to look really comfortable.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just like, oh no, you know, but
Mhm.
like, you know, having a good hair makeup for me, I love what I do. I love going to set. I love having fun. I think anybody that's worked with me will tell you that one thing that we do on the set is laugh a lot. You know, it can be stressful trying to meet schedules and deadlines and this needs to happen and, you know, all kinds of unforeseen circumstances. But like at the end of the day, we're there, we're making entertainment, we're having fun.
Mhm.
We should all be able to come together and enjoy doing something creative, you know, and that is really kind of always my goal on set.
I think that's a really great
Yeah.
goal to have. That's possible. That's possible.
Yeah, like it's, you
Mhm.
know, at the end of the day, like I want us to enjoy what we do. Like nobody wants to come to set and be miserable. I mean, some people do, not me.
Yeah.
You know, I did not get up at like 4:30 in the morning to roll into the hair and makeup trailer and be there for 14 hours to have a miserable day. So it's, you know,
Totally.
it's not what I did.
Yeah, I
So
find it hard to believe like your last name is Sweetin and you're not completely sweet on set. So
I know,
Or-
wouldn't it be? That would be the ultimate irony, right? Is if I was just a really mean, terrible person and not.
Right. Oh my goodness. That joy is so important. And speaking of feeling good, we must discuss your recent movie, Just Swipe, because it's such a relatable storyline. Dating apps during COVID. I think Kendra and I can both attest that we have experienced this. So, how
Yeah.
was it like making this movie?
You know, it was actually really fun because I mean, well, that's not the right word. It was a challenge. It was a challenge because we were making it still during COVID. So we were
Mhm.
making it in November of 2020. So
Wow.
like later that year, and it was just starting to like get worse again, you know. So it was like, oh my gosh, you know, having to do this and stay in zones and testing and all of that. It was a challenge. That was the first project I'd worked on, you know, post pandemic life.
Mhm.
But, you know, it was something that so many of my friends were going through during the pandemic is like, oh my gosh, like I thought online dating sucked anyway. And now, like, now I can't even meet them in person. Now I'm only
Right.
stuck to it. Like, this is
Yeah.
terrible, you know? And I think I love the story about it. You know, it's the things that you think you want sometimes are not the things that you actually need. So,
So true.
you know, and I think my character kind of realized that throughout her her journey was like, oh, she thought she wanted all the external stuff, but really she just wanted somebody that had all the internal stuff.
Yeah.
I love
Which is
it.
most important. We always talk about that, right? It's what's on the
Exactly.
inside, not on the outside. So fun fact, actually, Jodie, I'm really good friends with Elizabeth Blake Thomas, the writing director.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I met her back in 2012 at the Cannes Film Festival. So I've known her for about a decade now.
Oh wow, she's
yeah.
such a doll. So
Yeah, she's
sweet.
wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, Isabella too. And I'm curious, like, what was it like working with her on this project? And do you feel like there's a difference when you're making content like this between working with a male director and a female director?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I loved working with Elizabeth and working with a female director. I mean, you just get that different perspective.
Yeah.
It's funny the things that female directors that, and as a female director, I'm hoping to direct a rom-com later this year. And then I directed an episode of Fuller House, and I'm doing some shadowing in a couple weeks on another show. But, I find it interesting because as women, we usually think about a lot of different things that our male counterparts don't think of, or, the way we would react, or something that would maybe make us uncomfortable. Like we're like, oh no, you wouldn't do that. And, and male directors are like, huh? And you're like, oh, no, that's not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that doesn't, and again, it's just that differing perspective. But I think sometimes in romantic comedy, it's nice to get that female perspective, because so often we get the story told through, yes, the female character is the lead, but it's still maybe a male writer and a male director. So it doesn't, and you see those things. I mean, I had a script recently, and I was like, oh, this was written by a man, because there were certain things in it that I was like, no, yeah, that's not. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, if a dude said that to me, like I would run. Like, that's creepy.
Right.
Or that, you know what I mean? So, I always try and bring that too, is like, what is that, modern perspective? Because I think that, the holiday movies and romantic comedies get, kind of blamed for being, unrealistic and all of this stuff. But I think that there's ways to, and, of course we all love a good love story, but I think there's ways to kind of modernize it. And I think female directors are really in the place where they're doing that a lot.
Yeah. And I think we're starting to see that more and more with rom-coms coming out, like them being more modernized, like, women taking charge in these cases.
Right.
Yeah. And you touched on how many different hats you wear. Like, you're getting into directing. It's awesome that you're shadowing. I used to work at Stars, and so we used to have directors come and shadow on Outlander.
Oh, nice.
The show that I worked on.
Oh, yeah. Did you say Outlander?
Yeah. Do you watch it?
My mother, I did watch it because my mom turned me on to it. My mother is obsessed with the show. And then I got super into it and like binged all 5 seasons. And then I was like, oh my God, what's happening in my life? I was like, I told you you'd like it. And it was gonna be like some stupid, like ridiculous, like, bodice ripping, but no. And then my best friend and I would watch it, and there'd be like some really intense, like, sex scene. And my friend would just be like, dude, this is your mom's favorite show. And I'm like, can you stop right now?
That's so funny.
My goodness.
Yeah, no, that was like 3 years of my life. But I want to talk about you as a director. So obviously you spent a lot of time in front of the camera. Now you're moving more towards behind the camera. Do you have a preference of acting or directing, and what fulfillment do you get out of both of them?
I will say, as I'm moving more into like producing and stuff on some of my rom-coms and things like that, and wanting to direct, I tend to be a person whose mind like I work in big picture ways. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm keeping track of everything that's going on, even as an actor, which sometimes can be a little bit distracting for myself, because I'm taking everything in. I'm like, I need to stay in my lane. Like, I need to stay in doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I think I love the constant problem solving that is happening in directing. I enjoy that. I sometimes thrive in chaos. So, the more that things are, needing to be changed, or this is happening, or that, I'm like, oh, this is great. I can handle all of it. Mm-hmm. So I really love directing. I love what I do. I love acting. I love bringing characters to life. And, I'd like to be able to do both for as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, and we're hoping that for you, Jodie.
Definitely. Oh my goodness. Like Kendra said, you've been wearing so many hats. And I would just love to know how it's been going from TV and film, behind the camera and in front of the camera, to also podcasting and an author and an activist. Like, you're all over the place. Just how is that? What's it like being in so many mediums and industries?
Oh my goodness. Well, life is certainly busy. Like I said, I'm recording my podcast here at home after this. And, this morning was spent getting kids up and ready to go to school, and one packed for, an East Coast trip. So like momming was on the schedule today. And, it takes a lot of organization. And some days I'm not great at it. Some days I'm like, I'm doing too much and I just have to go, okay, you know what? I'm going to sit down for a little while. But I like to be busy. I like to, have my hands in lots of things and be creative. So, for me, being able to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that actually is kind of perfect for me, 'cause the way my brain operates.
I'm so curious, Jodie, how you manage your time, because I feel like I do a lot of things.
Apparently.
My hand is in a lot of different pots. Yeah. How do you,
Mhm.
well, can you give us an idea of your schedule, of like your time management skills,
This
like
is-
anything?
Yeah, staring at a wall for like 30 minutes and then being like,
Mhm.
oh crap, I really need to write this email. Oh, I don't want to open an email. That's so much work. No,
Um,
I have terrible time management skills. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have my manager is like a lifesaver. We'll be like, I can't ask the questions. I can't do it. Like, can you do this for me? And because I do wear a lot of hats, so it's like there's just a lot to be done. But no, I will wake up, I'll get the kids ready for school, and then I come home and I like sit for an hour and a half on the couch and read the news, which is all horrifying. But what I've been trying to get in the habit of doing is like just don't think too much, like
Mhm.
don't overthink it, because anxiety lives in indecision. You know what I mean? Anxiety
So
lives in that
true.
space of like, should I not? I don't know. And, should I get up off the couch? But I don't want. Like just set yourself in motion. So like I've been trying to get back in the habit of like getting up, working out in the morning, and then like showering and getting onto my day, because I have been known to lounge around in my sweatpants, napping on and off.
And no one is judging you.
Same.
Or read a book. Yeah.
You're in a safe space with us with that.
Yeah. And you know what? I think we all need to just slow down and like take a nap and read a book sometime. So
Yes, exactly. I really liked what you said, like anxiety lives in indecision. I've never heard that before. And I think that's something I'm gonna use moving forward. Like that's
oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I heard that. I'm sure it wasn't an original thought, probably a therapist of mine over the years. I mean, but it's true. And like when I think about that, like when I think about when I get in the space where I'm like, oh, I don't, I'm like, it's usually because I haven't just pointed myself in a direction and taken off. I'm worrying too much about what I should do, what I shouldn't do, what happens if I do this, and what if I just do it. You know what I mean? If I want to go
Yeah.
get something done, get out of the house, go do it,
Totally.
And like as someone in front of the camera, you have to make a lot of those decisions. Like I need to just do it. And so
Yeah.
speaking about a decision, you are in this new reality show, Beyond the Edge, that's airing now. What made you decide to do that project? And like what is it about reality TV that you were drawn to?
And, I'll be honest, most things about reality TV, I absolutely can't stand. There's a few shows that I like. And I think at this point, I've now been on them all. And so I'm like, okay, I'm done with reality TV. I wanted to learn to dance. I did Dancing with the Stars. Great.
Yeah.
I'm also on Worst Cooks Celebrity Edition, which is on Food Network right now. I learned to cook. Fun, awesome. Challenge myself in the jungle. Great. Check. Done. But no, what really attracted me about this particular show, about Beyond the Edge, was that you were competing against yourself. At the end of the day, nobody else was voting you off. You didn't have to go out and pretend to be someone you weren't in order to make these faux alliances and then be nice to someone's face. Is that like, that's not me. I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to go challenge myself out in the jungle. Right. And so knowing that really it was there to like build camaraderie and family and challenge yourself. Like that's what I love. I love like meeting new people, bonding together. Let's do this. We got this. Let's support each other.
So Jodie, we're just gonna hop on right over to rom-coms, because this is the rom-com room. We talk about rom-coms. I want to know, like, what is your favorite rom-com? First of all, we'll start with that.
Mhm.
Oh man, the irony is I actually don't watch a lot of rom-coms. I don't watch a lot of rom-coms, and I don't watch a lot of comedy. And so, yeah, I've watched like really dark documentaries and stuff, but that's not what this podcast is about. Oh, you know what? I don't know. I'm trying to think of ones I even watched when I was little. Like, I don't know. This is how much of not a rom-com person I am, other than being in them and knowing them inside and out, and yet not
Right.
watching them.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Love Actually.
Oh,
Whoa.
oh, my heart. Oh, my whole heart just stopped.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
That's a major
Oh.
one.
Yeah. Wait, Jodie, now you have to wait till Christmas to watch it. 'Cause
Yeah, I'll do that. Sure. I'm
yeah. But
Yeah,
do you
now you
understand the
have to break.
references when people are like holding up the side and stuff? Like, to me, you are perfect. Do you understand those, like, where that reference comes
I know there was a scene where he like did a thing and held up signs and
Okay.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So
Oh
yeah,
my gosh,
I gotta get
that's
the full impact of it, but I've seen it enough now on social media that I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen people do that thing. Right.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
that's so
Yeah. So
hilarious.
see, I have Love Actually to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's a classic. It is a classic.
I
Yeah.
I really do love hearing when like rom-com actors are so like anti-rom-com in some way, like, and also just comedic actors in general are like, no, I want to watch like dramas. I live this. I don't need
And
this.
and I think it's almost because like it's become so you're like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. Like you've done it
Exactly.
so much, like I know what's gonna happen.
Mm.
And like give me a good mystery because that I love when I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah. But and I like I could tell you every point you're supposed to hit in a rom com and like everything that's supposed to happen. But yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I watched one.
Okay, well then I want to touch on that then. So you can
Okay.
really dissect a rom-com. Do you have a pet peeve about rom-coms? Because I feel like there are different tropes, right, that Mercedes and I talk a lot
Right.
about. I
Definitely.
think one of your favorites, Mercedes, is like the enemies to lovers trope.
I love
Right.
it. I love
Yeah.
enemies
Oh,
to
it's right,
lovers.
right.
And I love rom-coms where you actually see them in the relationship. So it's not like they don't talk to each other and they're like still trying to figure out and then they get together at the end. But it's like when
Right.
they are, you can see through their relationship. I think
Yeah.
that's special. So
Mhm.
what is like your rom-com pet peeve, your favorite trope, things like that?
I also like it when you can see the relationship. And I think just for me, the relationship is funnier. Like that's the funny stuff. You know what I mean? Like but in rom-coms, it's not always about funny. It's about the cute, the meet cute, right?
Yeah.
So exactly, gotta have that moment. But the pet peeve one for me is usually where it's like somebody's come back to town for like they're there 2 weeks and now all of a sudden they're giving up their entire life back in the city and like what are you doing with your apartment and like what about your job and
So
like you know what I mean and just all of a sudden
true.
they give up everything to come live in this small town because they really had forgotten what love was about and you're like I feel like this might not work out well. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've done
Yeah.
that. It's not, but you know what I mean? Like, that's always mine. And like, I always joke about it, even in the movies that I do. I'm like, well, I mean, we've hit the 2 week mark. So basically, we're having babies. You know?
Exactly. We're in
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Do you have like rom-com royalties in your mind? So like we did a whole month of J-Lo because she's done so many different rom-coms. We added some people like Sanaa Lathan. She does a lot of rom-coms. Cameron Diaz. I personally, for my rom-com king, I love Justin Long. He is everything to me.
I do. I do like Justin Long.
Yeah.
You know, who would be like best rom? I mean, I'm gonna Paul Rudd. I mean, come on, it's
Ooh,
Paul Rudd.
that's such a good one.
Like, I feel like Paul Rudd
Rudd.
would. Yeah, that's it. That's yeah.
That's
Such
And
a
then
great pick.
and then I also feel like Jennifer Aniston for like
Mm-hmm.
Queen of that. She's killed it.
Definitely. Oh,
Right.
such good.
Maybe
Yeah.
we all have as long lasting a rom com career as Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, definitely. So we know you don't watch rom-coms often, but is there any rom-com you can think of that you'd love to remake or wish you could have been in?
Oh.
Something to choose from.
So many.
Well, I guess it's not it's actually like an anti rom com.
Ooh.
But I'm like, no, that's actually literally the complete opposite. But this tells you where my brain is at when you're like, think of a rom com, and I think of First Wives Club.
I love that movie. Oh
But I
my
mean,
gosh.
I have not
like,
seen that
but
movie.
it's I mean Meryl Streep and oh my god, Bette Midler, like it's
Yeah, Bette Midler, Diane
genius.
Keaton,
Diane Keaton. Yes, I mean it's
Yeah.
so good. It's
Goldie
so
Hawn.
good.
It's so amazing. There's music in it. There's such good comedy. Like those three comedy powerhouses.
It's really really funny, and it's sort of the like the anti rom com. But I mean it's hilarious.
That's a great. Oh my gosh.
I would love
love
to. I would totally love to remake First Wives Club.
Yes. Oh, that would
That's
be
my list. I
so
feel
good.
left out. I have no idea what you guys.
Oh my god, you have to see it. It's really
Right.
really great. It's great. They like drink this potion, and it's a whole. Isn't that's not the one? Or no, that's I'm thinking of the one where
Death becomes her.
Death becomes her. Death becomes
Yes,
her.
that's a good one too. That's great.
Yes. No,
Both of
First
those.
Wives Club is what I was thinking. Yeah.
Jodie, you see why I need Mercedes? Like she's the yin to my yang.
I completely understand. I need that myself. And me and my best friend are usually both yin or both yang, and we're both just neither one can keep the other on track.
I love that.
Jodie, thank you so much. Before we wrap it up, we just have an assignment for you, obviously, because you said you haven't seen Love Actually.
Okay.
The assignment is going to be to watch it and let us know what you
Mhm.
think and report
Um,
back on how you feel about it.
My pleasure. I'd be happy to watch it.
Wonderful. Jodie, it was so wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us in the Rom-Com Room.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on,
Thank
ladies.
you so much. This has
Okay.
been awesome.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Meet Cuties. We're so excited to let you know that you can now binge our newest series, Influence, exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. It's Meet Cute's modern adaptation of Jane Austen's Persuasion, and we know you're going to love it.